back to another episode of Beyond Remedies, Dr. Tales in Homeopathy. And for today's episode, we have Dr. Atiq Ahmad Bhatti sir. He's doing practice in Berkshire since 25 years. Let's invite him.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you,
Yeah,
sir?
thank you. Thank you for the
It
opportunity.
must be 12 there, right?
It's 12:01 exactly, yes.
Okay. Then good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, yes. And to you. You're doing a very good job with these Insta lives. Really interesting.
Thank you so much, sir. We are glad to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. For today's session, say something about you, sir, firstly.
Um, okay. I'm a homeopath in the
Yeah.
UK. I've been practicing for about 25 years now. And I'm also a fourth generation homeopath. So it's been in my
Wow.
family for 100 years now. But I
Yeah.
think it's 101 years, I believe, something
Yes.
like that. So it's not just vertical, it's also horizontal as well. So my father and his uncles, grandfather, uncles, and so on and so forth. And prior to that, my fifth grade or fourth grade, something like that, in my family, they were herbalists. So it's a line of, we descended from a line of herbalists and hakims. And from there, homeopathy came into the family, and we've never really looked back since then. So yeah, so I practice in an area called Berkshire, and I have an international clinic here from where I see patients around the world. And I also do my podcast. You can see the mic in the back
Yes,
here. Um,
I know, sir.
so I do the podcast that goes out to I think at the moment it's about 49,000 people around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Okay, we will
great
start with.
many a great many eminent homeopathic doctors from India have come on my
Yeah.
podcast, as you know, like Dr. Gaurang and Dr. Farooq Master, Dr. Rajan
Yes.
Sankaran,
Yes, I know.
Dr. Asher Sheikh, Dr. Jitesh Sharma, who's actually on again this evening.
We are honored to have you, sir. Okay. I want to start the session with first question like for your college days. And my first question would be, how did you get into homeopathy?
Well, that's easy because it was in my family. So it was they call it a no-brainer, right?
Oh.
But it wasn't immediate
Hmm.
when even though I grew up with homeopathy and
Yeah.
homeopathy I was saturated in homeopathy, but nevertheless, I didn't know at a young age or at that age if that's what I wanted to do. But it's quite interesting that it just so happened that for various reasons, I ended up thinking, well, probably this is what I need to do. And I say I thought, but I think, God put my drew my attention towards this as a profession, but also as a service to humanity,
Yeah.
because ultimately
Yeah.
homeopathy is a service to humanity. And yes, of course, it's a profession, but it's not a job.
Yeah.
It's a service. You're helping others day in and day out. And the as a result of that, you can also make a living as well, which is, of course, important. Otherwise, how can you do anything, right?
So, share any cool moments from your college that made you love homeopathy.
Okay. Well, I'll say that I loved homeopathy from the family. I saw my
Yeah.
father treating patients, my granduncle, my uncle in Nairobi, in East Africa, where I went for a number of times, to visit and to shadow him as well in the early days. So uh, it's not necessarily that it was in my family, but also, you have to have your own experiences, right? to be able to be
Yeah.
grounded and to be
Yes.
able to really appreciate the beauty of homeopathy. And
Yeah.
from an early age, I saw how homeopathy was making such a huge difference to people's lives, and how it was, I mean, they would come in with an illness, and one remedy, one dose would cure them, literally. I mean, if the problem does not exist, then what do you call it? You know, it's not palliation, it's a cure, because it would never come back. And you know, that really inspired me. And but
Yeah.
also what inspired me were the names of the remedies.
Yes.
China, Lycopodium, Carboveg. We know plant animal
Yes.
kingdom now, of course, in
Yeah.
our ripe old age, huh? But you know, at
Yes.
that time, it was always fascinating to me. China
Yeah.
was a fascinating name, and I always thought, but that's a country, you know? And like
Yes.
Lycopodium and Naxvomica, and even the names are so attractive, are they not? Arsenicum,
Yes. Yes.
album,
Yeah.
Ipecac,
Absolutely.
Belladonna. You know, I mean, wow, you gotta love that, right? Come on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Tell a story about a patient from your college days.
I used to see a lot of patients
Hmm.
from those days who had skin problems,
Yeah.
and it was amazing how people would respond. You know, people suffering years and years with eczema or just scalp dermatitis, whatever
Yeah.
condition it may be,
Yeah.
and you know, they would come and they would be suffering, and some would have sort of eczema here around the neck, and so
Yeah.
you know, when the
Yeah.
skin becomes very hard here, the skin thickens sometimes in eczema cases, not
Yes.
in all, but some, and sometimes because it dries so much it cracks. So they would be like
Yes.
this, and they wouldn't be able to
Uh,
move. And then lo and behold, you know, after a few months of treatment, they were absolutely so much more agile, and the eczema had reduced so greatly. So, you know, those type of encounters really motivated me. Even today, so many things motivate me. Just this week, I've had a number of cases of patients suffering from depression and mental health conditions. And after a few doses of a selected remedy, you know, Aurum, Ignatia,
yeah.
Pulsatilla, whichever one it is suitable to that patient, and they've responded and they've said, "Oh, do you know what? The anxiety's gone, or we don't feel sad anymore." And you think, wow, that's just amazing.
Magic of
It's magic,
homeopathy.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The homeopathy
It is.
continues to inspire me every single day. You know, there's not a day where I don't learn something from the patient and about homeopathy.
Yeah. Okay. How did you start your practice?
I started my practice actually from
Yeah.
home. It's a
Yeah.
bit different, the system, for those who aren't aware, in the UK or
Yes.
in the West. So
Oh,
you can
yeah.
either rent a place or you can work from home, and
Hmm.
most
Hmm.
homeopaths work from home.
Yeah.
Now, in those days, that's how it used to be. In today's modern
Yeah.
society, it's 100% that way in the West. You know, we work from home. We have a clinic, and patients come. That doesn't mean you're sitting in the sitting room or the kitchen or something. I mean, you have a separate room dedicated. You know, so
Understand.
I started like that, and then by the grace of God, I was able to earn enough that I was able to have a purpose-built clinic made on the same land, same, so it's still
Yeah.
at home, but separate. So yeah, that's how that worked out. And the humble days were actually, the humble days were in the sitting
Yeah.
room. You know, they actually
Yes.
were. And I remember patients would love coming there because they said, "Oh, while you make your medicines
It
after
feels like
treatment."
home. It feels more like a home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's nice, you know, it's
Yeah.
nice, and yeah.
Okay. How did you go from student to homeopath? From being a student to being a homeopath, how did you feel it?
I think I'm still a student. Yeah, it takes a long time to be able to. Homeopathy is an art. So when you take away the
Yeah.
science, you've done the science, you've
Mm.
studied the science, right? You've worked on the principles, you know,
Yeah.
the kingdoms, blah blah blah. You know the remedies, you know the relationships. If even if you don't, but you've done the science bit, the art is how you practice. There is no one right way of practicing. Everyone is different. I have a big toolbox, and within that toolbox, I have different um, principles or different
Yeah.
methodologies, or you know, of how homeopathy can be
Yeah.
used, from classical
Yeah.
right through to the other side as well, to
Yeah.
detox and everything in between. It really depends on the patient and what you need to do for them, huh? But I'm still
Do you
learning.
face any? Yeah. Do you face any struggle? Did you face any struggle while starting your practice?
I think the struggle at that time, to be honest, was not the practice. It was more to be able to earn enough money to
Yeah.
be able to obviously keep things running at home, food on the
Hmm.
table, obviously having a home. As far as practice in the West, again, it's very different to how it is in
Yeah.
India. India is far ahead. It's amazing. You know, you have
Yeah.
homeopathic hospitals, you have
Yes.
um, clinics pretty much around every corner, and
Yeah.
everybody is busy. It's not so busy like that for the Western countries.
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. It depends, you know. So generally, in the early days, you have to be really patient. You have to
Hmm.
persevere, but never give up. Never
Yeah.
ever give
Perseverance.
up, because if your intentions are right,
Yeah.
then you will be blessed and you will have opportunities. Spend time on cases, research, build up your knowledge at the same time, and you have to be, again, I'll use that word, you have to be really humble. You have to be very patient. As a patient, patients have to be patient, but the practitioner also, you know. And
Yes.
when you get enough cured cases, then people start talking to one another, and it's like a pyramid effect. And then they tell others, and then eventually you become quite busy.
Yeah. Share some cases that boosted your confidence in homeopathy.
Oh my God, there's so many cases, you know. But I tell you
Of
the
course, sir, you have 25 years experience, so it is going to so many cases.
I think
Yeah.
personally the ones that really bring me a lot of joy really are the ones where couples have come and they haven't been able to
Hmm.
conceive. There is either no
Hmm.
children in the family, or there is a history
Hmm.
of miscarriages. And,
Hmm.
you know, a few doses of selected remedies have
Hmm.
resulted in them falling pregnant, having a family, not just one child. In some cases, I've given a remedy and they've had twins.
Hmm.
You know, so those are very uh, inspiring cases, you know, for me as well, because they're so happy and their family. And now I see those children growing up, and they said, "Oh, when we were 10 years old, 15 years old," and that makes me feel really old, you know. But you know, and I was there right at the start, and it's just so nice to know, you know, that they've got a family. So fertility cases are very good. Also, cases of autoimmune conditions, you know,
Yeah.
like leaky gut syndrome, or um, endometriosis, or some allergic states, you know, the thyroid gland as well. I've had cases where people have been really, really suffering, and they've taken homeopathic treatment, and are you there?
Yes.
Oh, I think maybe the phone rang and it just cut off. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I think there
Yeah.
was a call came in whilst I was on.
Okay. 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 No problem, sir. Uh, give some tips for new grade starting homeopathic journey.
Hmm. Never rush the patient. Listen
Hmm.
to the patient. Don't presume you know something. You can
Hmm.
go through
Hmm.
clams, you can go through PQRS, you can go through anything, but don't rush
Hmm.
to go through it. Sometimes, if you just listen to the patient, they
Hmm.
themselves will tell you what is peculiar about their condition, what
Yeah.
is rare. They'll tell you modalities. Just let them speak, give them time, converse with them,
Hmm.
have a conversation, not an interview. It's not a list that you have to go through, it's a conversation. And from there, pick out things. First case will be very tough, second, tough, third, but eventually it becomes normal and you'll start to pick up things yourself. And always observe the patient. Sometimes the patient
Yeah.
will come and they'll have a notepad and they'll have a pen. You know immediately, you know that, hang on, we know that they've already told us this is the remedy that's going to be most applicable is from the mineral kingdom. Then
Yeah.
you'll have somebody else, you know, who will be a mixture of both. You know, this is going to be a plant remedy. You can follow up, of course, with minerals, because plants and minerals, a lot of remedies have a relationship. But if you observe and you give time, you'll find that the patient usually gives most of the information. And then, of course, you have to do your own Sherlock Holmes. you know. You have to do some
Okay,
investigation.
sir. In today's time, patient needs instant relief, right? So, in doing taking that in mind, how did you stick to classical homeopathy?
You know, it's not necessarily just classical. People do need
Yeah,
a quick fix as
yeah,
well. Remember, very
yeah,
important for students as well is do not ignore the main complaint. So many a time you will have patients who come with just acutes or even complex acutes, but they're not chronic. For those,
yeah,
sometimes one remedy may not be sufficient. It really depends, but the focus again is on the patient. Remember to help them with what they've come for. But
mm,
if it is something related to purely,
mm,
a mental, emotional imbalance, discuss that with them. Have that conversation. Tell
yeah,
them what you're doing and what your thought process is. Because that, one, will help them understand homeopathy. Two, it will help them appreciate it. And three, it's that relationship with the patient. You can actually start, the patient can be very appreciative that, oh, at least they're telling me their thought process, rather than saying, take this,
yeah,
this is one dose, come back in a week, or take this twice a week for 3 weeks and come back, explain and be as open and as transparent as possible.
yeah,
Now, the other thing is that with a quick fix, sometimes with
mm,
acutes, it is a quick fix. If someone's
yeah,
bumped and bruised, then it's arnica or whatever, bryonia, whatever remedies come at that case. So, but then sometimes people do call and they say, oh, we're in a terrible state, we can't get to you. What do we do? There's no homeopath. Then sometimes you have to be a bit creative and give them the advice that's needed,
yeah.
at that time.
How did you handle tough times in your career?
Lots of prayers.
Okay, tell us about challenges settling into homeopathic career.
Lots of prayers, though. What I mean by that, you have to pray, you have to ask for guidance, you have to ask for help, and you have to be very patient, and you have to have willpower. There are times we all struggle, but you just have to be really strong. You have to think of the greater good, which is service to humanity. Yeah, every homeopath goes through peaks and troughs. It goes up and down. It goes up and down. It always does. You can't always be busy. You can't always be quiet. So
Yeah.
where there are quiet periods, strategize, think of things, research, do some whatever takes your fancy. Look at remedy
Mm.
relationships, look at remedies, or do some reading from books. Never be idle. You know. Sorry, your other question was your follow-up question.
Tell us about challenges settling into homeopathic career.
I think the challenges were very much again in the UK. It's in the UK certainly, and
Mm,
and some
mm,
in the West generally. It's not like the way it works in India, which again I think is
mm,
amazing.
mm,
Here it's very
mm.
much just I'm practicing. I
Yeah.
don't have a compounder. I don't have another doctor where I can refer. I don't have somebody who will do the repertorization or will pick out key rubrics or look at the case and then give me suggestions. It's just me.
Yeah.
I have to do everything myself. So,
Everything, right?
it's yeah, that can be challenging, to be honest, but it's also quite interesting as well. You know,
Okay.
did I
How
answer
is
your
homeo
question actually?
Okay. Uh, how is homeopathy in UK and how Indian students can practice in UK if some wants to shift?
If you want to shift,
Yeah.
the way to do it is, well, they can get in touch with me, yeah, through my Instagram. But
Yeah.
generally, yes, you can move to the UK and you can practice here, but you would need to be registered with a certain society or accreditation
Yeah. Hmm.
organization,
Hmm.
so that you would, because here we very much need there's certain things. So you have your qualifications, you need accreditation, so you're recognized and
Hmm.
licensed. So important nowadays. You have to be registered and licensed, and then you also need insurance, which
Hmm.
is normal for anyone in practice,
Hmm.
within the medical profession. And once you do that, then you can establish yourself.
Hmm. Okay. Tell us about your podcast.
Ah, lovely. I thought, well, I was going to wonder. So the Homeopathy Health show, it's the Homeopathy Health podcast, goes out around the world. There's about 49,000 listeners at the moment, a community of
Yeah.
homeopath lecturers, even the guests that have been on the
Yes.
show. For the Indian audience, very much, if you don't know about it, I've had guests such as Dr. Fruit
Yeah.
Master, Dr. Rajan Sankaran, Dr. Jitesh
Yes.
Sharma from the JDS Hospital,
Yeah.
Dr. Samir Chokar,
Yeah.
Dr. Asher Sheikh, German New Medicine. There's so many, so many. But basically, they're homeopaths from around the world,
Yeah.
researchers, authors, students, graduates, even principals of schools. And they come on, we talk about homeopathy, we talk about their insights, and they share their experiences. So it's available. Just click my Instagram link at the top, and you'll see the access to the podcast on the podcast page on YouTube. And I also do something called Homeopathic Voices from Around the World, similar to what you're doing, which again uses invites guests onto the show to talk about certain subject matters.
Okay. Is Indian degree valid in UK for homeopathy?
Um, that's a really good question. I think you can set up practice, but it depends if it's recognized by the organization. Rules can sometimes change, so I would say
Hmm.
always do your research before you come
Yeah.
over, because with homeopathy, the rules seem to be constantly changing. In the West, certainly, yeah, they're becoming a bit more rigid, I suppose. And for that, it depends on which institution you go to register with. Good question, though.
Okay. Moments when you doubted yourself, and when you doubted yourself, how did you keep going?
By conversing with other homeopaths,
Yeah.
because when I felt down or a patient didn't get better, and that would really bug me and really get me down. And I would be very upset because I did the best I could, and I would speak to other homeopaths, and I realized they also had days where some people just didn't respond, and that
Hmm.
didn't make me feel better, but it didn't make me feel that I was on my own. I
Hmm.
thought, okay, so it's not me, it's just sometimes it just doesn't work for certain
Hmm.
patients. 99% of the time it does, but even that small 1% can sometimes bring you down, right? Because you think, oh no, why? What happened? But never be disheartened.
Yeah.
You can't always treat everybody with 100% success. Sometimes it may be 80%, sometimes 90,
Hmm.
and that's enough as well sometimes.
With this, I want to tell all the students that please do join our basic homeopathic course. In basic homeopathic course, we provide all the materials, and we provide learnings in pathological diagnosis, differential diagnosis, after that case taking after that repertorization, and differentiate the medicines. All we provide in our basic course series. So please join our basic course series and download the Homeomonk app. Thank you so much. With this, I want to go to the further question. I want to ask you, sir,
I
share
was
a.
just going to say, just before that question, the founder of Homeomonk is coming on soon to my InstaLIVE.
Oh, wow.
Remind me the name for
Dr.
everybody's
Raj
benefit.
Bondre,
Yeah.
sir.
So we've been communicating. So
Yeah.
soon.
Okay, wow. It will be great to see, sir.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. Big honor.
Okay, sir. Share a case where persistence paid off.
We're a person.
Persistence paid off.
Um, there are quite a few actually. There are
Hmm.
sometimes patients come, and what happens is you give them remedies, and after 2 to 3 months they
Yeah.
don't improve, and you talk to the patient and you say,
Hmm.
please be patient and let the
Hmm.
remedies work. And sometimes the patient says, no, look, it's been 3 months and
Hmm.
it's not working, nothing's
Hmm.
happening. And you say, just give it a little more time. Sometimes it takes time for the vital force to adjust.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes
Yeah.
time for the remedies to penetrate to the level where your body's vibration reacts, where it resonates, right? So that's happened several times, many times, I should say. And for those patients who took that advice lo and behold, they actually did improve and they got better. And so it's not always that patients should improve after 1 month, after 1 week. Sometimes autoimmune disorders can take upwards, as you know, you're a doctor, you know, it takes upwards of 6 months, 1 year, even longer. Everybody is different. So, but I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. When you speak to a patient, be transparent and explain that to them. That it may be you may respond in a month, it may be you may respond in a week, or it may take you several months. Are you happy for that? Because then they know. But never set a goalpost that, oh, in 6 months this will happen. Because how do I know? How does anybody know? Yeah? Because we're a facilitator, isn't it? The patient knows because they have to take the medicine and their vital force when it works. That's that's when it will happen, right?
Yeah, when we talk about homeopathy, it is a very laborious process, right? So sometimes it gets difficult to manage both work life and family at the same time. How did you do that?
I work from home. Yeah,
What a great answer. Yeah, it's
yeah?
definitely
Cup of
it's
chai,
easy.
a pakora, a samosa. I'm happy.
Wow. Okay. And how did your family support in this?
Well, again, because we have grown up and
Yeah.
homeopathy's been in the family for so long, everybody expects the situation where sometimes I'm working up to excuse me,
It's okay.
sometimes I'm working up to 1 a.m. in the morning on
Hmm.
cases, on patients, even on the podcast. So
Hmm.
um, they expect that, but it's not work. You get a lot of time as well with family as well. You just have to um, you have to it's very important even for students to, in the first few years, yes, it's important to really work hard, but it's also important to have time to yourself. That's also
Yeah.
important. So take a break. Otherwise, there's only so much you can do, and there's only so many people you can help.
Yeah. Definitely. So, uh, amazing.
Yeah?
Okay, I'm sorry. Um, what are your views on passing on the legacy? Like you are fourth generation homeopath, right? So, do you want to pass on this legacy?
I hope so. Otherwise, there will be no fifth. You know? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's getting to that stage now that
Mm.
it may happen.
Yeah.
You know. Hopefully I'll have a long enough life to be able to teach what I've learned, and someone will do much better. Whoever takes over will do so much better than me. But yeah,
You
it's I hope
are
so.
such a humble and down to earth person I've ever met.
I don't know.
Okay, sir. Do your kids like homeopathy?
Yes, they've never been to the doctors.
Wow. Because you are the doctor only in family. How will they go another
Yeah,
place?
many of my family have left going to doctor, not left in the sense that they don't need medical treatment. Sometimes we
Hmm.
do. We need to end up in
Hmm.
hospital, right? You have to
Yeah.
be very realistic. But they've left as in for everyday acutes because they know that they can come here and I can help them. Hopefully I can help them. Or at least they'll get a
And
cup of chai and a pakora, right?
I think chai and pakoda is your
Oh,
favorite, sir.
lovely.
Okay. Advice for students who want to rock in homeopathy.
If they want to rock,
Yeah.
be yourself. Be
Yeah.
unique. Don't follow.
Mm.
Learn from everybody. Learn
Yeah.
everything from the masters. Learn as much as you can, but be yourself. Never
Yeah.
lose track. Don't be someone you're not. We are artists. I paint my
Yes.
portrait, you paint your portrait, and everybody else paints. Yeah? So
Yes.
paint your own portrait. Trust your instincts. The fact that you've actually gone into homeopathy is in itself
Mm.
tells you you are special. That is
Yeah.
telling you that you love humanity, you want to help people, you want to serve humanity. So then there's no
Mm.
need to have any complex. Just do the best you can, and automatically after a few years you will find your way. It's a path. You might go left and right, or you might have some forks, but you'll always make the best decisions because your intention is to help others. How can you make bad decisions
Yeah.
if your intention is clean, right?
Sure, sir. Okay. Okay, with this, I want to end this session by lastly 5 tips for marketing or growing homeopathy for जो budding homeopaths हैं उनके लिए.
उनके लिए budding tips. Okay. One, network. Know
Hmm.
homeopaths around you, make communities and friends.
Yeah,
Two, get your
yeah,
name out there, be it through social media, which is brilliant, so people
yeah,
know what you're doing. Talk to local groups in your area. Groups होते हैं ना,
yeah,
जैसे community groups बनते हैं, go and introduce,
yeah,
ask them that you want to come there because you're a homeopath and you just want to introduce yourself.
yeah.
Get your name out there, get your face out there. Start
Hmm.
treating family and friends, you'll be successful, and then they will tell others. That's something you can lean on. Um, Four, be persistent, never lose hope.
Yeah.
And the fifth one. Let's have a think. The fifth one, again, I'll go back to what I just said earlier, which is be yourself. People will love you for who you are. Don't be someone else. Be a homeopath that you are supposed to be. Yeah?
Simple.
Be
Yeah.
confident in how you approach patients, but be humble and compassionate. Don't ever sit there like, how can I help you? No, it's not. Rather than how can I help you, it's like,
Yeah.
I really want to help you, or
हाँ.
I'm really happy you came to me because I hope I can help you so much. Use those words because
हाँ.
words are very
मुझे
important.
मतलब जब पेशेंट आपको ऐसे देखेगा तो वो ज्यादा कनेक्ट कर
Connect
पाएगा आपसे.
होगा ना, देखिए
हाँ.
आप ये इंस्टा लाइव के लिए मैं ऐसे बैठ सकता हूँ, तो अजीब जा लगता हूँ वैसे भी ऐसे बैठ के, है ना? या मैं ऐसे बैठ सकता
हाँ.
हूँ, नहीं? अब
हम्म.
ऐसे बैठ के आई एम रिलैक्स्ड, आई एम माई सेल्फ. इफ आई सेड लाइक दिस, ऑटोमेटिकली साइकोलॉजी चेंज हो
Yeah.
जाती है कि मैं कुछ है
Yeah.
हूँ, बट आई एम नथिंग. What क्या हूँ मैं? Nothing, right? I'm nothing
Okay.
without patience, am I?
No,
Yeah,
no one is मतलब
yeah,
जितने भी डॉक्टर्स हैं they are nothing without
yeah.
their patient.
I'll just be talking to the walls in the clinic. कि क्या हाल है आपका? चलो आप चाय पी लें, पकौड़ा खा लें.
Again, chai and pakora. Okay. Such a lovely meeting
Okay,
you, sir. Thank you so
thank you
much
so very
for
much.
making time for us.
No problem. In fact, I'm thinking I should return the favor, and we should schedule a Insta Live with you.
Oh, I'm a student, sir.
Doesn't matter. It's for, like I said, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm fourth year student studying in Gujarat, Rajkot,
Oh,
and
nice.
this is my last year. I will be completing in next June.
Right. Wow. Gujarat, huh? My parents are from there,
Wow,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Amazing. Good.
Wow.
Well, look, thank you for
Okay.
the honor. It's been lovely talking to you, and hopefully, I hope to get you on my one as well, so we can talk a bit more.
Uh,
Ah, hello from
hello from
Poland.
Poland.
Gosia
Hello.
Protika. Actually, Gosia is on. Gosia, I'm very pleased to say that next Tuesday,
Yeah.
um, I've got a very special podcast with Dominika from Poland, and you'll see the reels on my Instagram on Saturday. Dominika's recorded a wonderful trailer. Sorry, I know I'm interjecting there, but I just thought I'd say hello to Poland. We're
It's
doing
okay.
a Poland special on Tuesday next
Wow.
week.
Okay. Good to hear you, sir.
Homeopathy is huge in Poland. Did you know?
Wow, no,
It's
I don't know.
huge, really big, and I can't wait. I'm so excited
Wow.
to talk to Dominika. I want the world to know about
I'll be
homeopathy in Poland.
watching this too.
It'll be great.
From Dominic. I know Dominic.
Good. If you know her, then go see. You can tell her that on I was a guest on an Insta Live by Homeomonk, and I mentioned Poland and I mentioned her.
We study
Oh,
together.
wonderful. So how is your fourth year going, by the way?
Oh, my, सब कुछ बढ़िया चल रहा है.
Huh?
You
Brilliant.
must brief us about the scope of homeopathy in various nations.
Can I answer that?
Yes, yes,
I do
sure.
that. I brief you through my podcast. If you listen, again,
Hmm.
go to my Instagram page, and in the bio, you'll have several links to the podcast. Look through my reels. You'll see I do something called Homeopathic Voices from Around the World, which basically brings all the homeopathic community together. And then you will get an idea of homeopathy in different countries. We've covered South Africa, Bermuda, the US, Canada, UK, Poland, Germany, Switzerland, It's a massive
In
community.
UK, is there any scope? Like सबको पता है जर्मनी में ज्यादा स्कोप है होम्योपैथी के लिए इंडियंस फॉर इंडियंस बट इन यूके ज्यादा एमबीए करके लोग जा रहे हैं यूके इफ वी गो टू द बिगर पिक्चर लोग एमबीए करते हैं एंड देन मूव टू यूके बट इफ देयर इज अ चांस कि होम्योपैथी करके यूके जाएंगे तो सक्सेस होएगा
There's always a chance, yes. Yes, you don't have to have a BSc or an MA. You don't have to. Huh?
Yeah.
Are you just talking MD homes or just undergraduates?
दोनों
Oh,
के
no,
लिए
there's scope. There's so many Indian homeopaths I know in the
हम्म
UK practicing very successfully. There's
हम्म
8 billion people on this planet, and only 600 million use homeopathy around the world. I say only, it's huge, which is it's about 8%, I think,
yeah
7%, which is not bad. But there's
yeah
always room. I always say to
yeah
homeopaths, they say, oh, um, patients. I say, listen, I can only treat so many patients. There's so
हम्म
many people. The population in the UK is going to be 70 million. I can't
हम्म
treat 70 million. It's impossible. How many can I treat?
नहीं
100 a month? 100 a week? So there's plenty for everybody,
oh
Let's share,
yes
let's help, because at the end of the day, you're helping others and everything works out.
okay thank you so much
Okay.
sir for this session and we'll look after another sessions more and more for homeopathy
Yeah, I love to return, and I'm going to invite you as well. I'll set a date.
okay sure sir I'll love to talk with you okay
Yeah, it'd be
thank you
nice to
so
share
much
your
sir
experiences as a student, for other
yeah
students. We can make it a student special.
yeah
Yeah. But
sure
you've
sure
been a very wonderful host. Thank you so much for asking so many beautiful questions. I
thank you
I
so
hope I answered
much
them
sir
to the best
yes
of my
yeah
ability.
thank you so much. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. We are honored to
Thank
have you, sir. Thank you.
you. All right.
Okay,
Bye
with this,
bye.
I'm ending the session.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, with this, I am ending this session and I want to inform all the students and viewers too that learning homeopathy with more enjoyable. Please do join Homeomonk app and please do join our courses like Dermatology series, Repertory series, and Potency Master series. Thank you so much. This is your host, Madhu Shah.